Hey guys.
Hey.
Hello.
This is the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery Podcast.
I am Kara.
I'm Megan.
And this is Olive.
Olive's here eating.
She's busy.
And we love her.
Yep. Okay, so I've got a side piece. Have you heard of the bog bodies?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh man, they fascinate me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about some.
Cool.
Some of the most popular ones they've
Yeah.
found. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Do y'all know about the bog bodies? Because if not, I'm telling you. Either way, I'm telling you anyways.
It reminds me of your the ice mummies that
Oh,
you did,
yeah.
similar like
Mhm.
well preserved
Yeah.
bodies. Yeah.
Yeah, these were really preserved. Okay.
I know.
So peat in European, y'all know what peat is? Like peat moss.
Let's Google it real quick.
Yeah.
Because I know I've heard this. I know what you're getting ready to say. Like the peat bogs is where they find them in, right?
Yes.
Is it P-E-E-T?
P-E-A-T.
So bogs occur where the water at the ground surface is acidic and low in nutrients.
Mm.
And a bog usually is found at a freshwater, soft, spongy ground
Yes.
that is made of decayed plant matter known as peat.
Peat.
So there's something about that is really
Yeah.
good at preserving bodies. Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
works? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They used to harvest this stuff for petroleum, but now they just dig into the ground for that kind of stuff. So it's
Right.
not as popular to find things in the ground or in these
I
little
see.
bogs.
Because they're not
So there
going
could-
into them as much.
Right. But there still could be stuff. Who knows? Go
Oh,
check-
yeah.
If there's one out in some free space for you to travel into, go dig around.
Yeah,
See what you can find.
But do it safely and don't trespass. What are all the ways we cannot get sued?
Right. If you were in a public,
Mhm.
free to use space
And you know how to swim.
and you're not harming anything and you're preserving the ground.
And you're being respectful to whatever bodies you find.
Correct.
Should probably be okay.
Yeah. And also don't awaken any
Demons.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Don't unearth any spells.
Right. If there's a channel underneath that, do not go in it.
No.
No. Don't
Absolutely
open
not.
any
Portals.
right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If there is a wand, no, there isn't.
If you hear someone calling for help, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. If you see a creature near it and there wasn't one before,
Run. We're great at life
We're
advice.
really good at this. Okay, so more than 1,000 bog bodies and skeletons have been found. More
Oh
than
my
1,000.
gosh.
But the problem is they're having a hard time. They know roughly how old these bodies are, and they know what area these people come from. These people still have hair on their heads and stuff.
I know. They're so
and
well
fingernails
preserved.
and everything. But the problem is the acidity in the bogs kind of just tears apart their bones, so they can't
Oh.
get that kind of DNA.
Oh, wow.
So they're having to test teeth and whatever bones are left
Mhm.
and flesh, I guess. And
I mean,
all that
teeth are
stuff.
bones.
Yeah,
But maybe it's just the
I guess it doesn't carry as
Specific,
much DNA.
yeah.
So they're moving on to hair and all that fun stuff.
I know it's also tricky that once they remove the bodies from the bog, they would kind of immediately start to
Yes.
deteriorate.
Yeah. Okay. Like Megan said, they kind of just form this perfect little home to preserve all things.
Mm-hmm.
So it also tans the body's skin. So when we post a picture of this, you'll be able to see these bodies were so dark.
Like leather.
But it doesn't mean they were of some specific region.
Mm-hmm.
It just means that
The effect of the
bogs-
peat.
Yeah. These bodies were found along with wooden and bronze vessels, weapons, other things that they would have given to the gods, items, kind of like in the frozen body ones.
Oh, yeah.
They left items in these. So people kind of were okay, well, maybe, people of this area during this time used this as their sacrifice to their gods. And
That
they would
makes
put
sense.
the bodies and the items in there. Did they know it was going to preserve it? Or did they just think that this space was something their gods created and wanted them to feed? I don't know.
Well, I mean, now I'm just my imagination is going wild, but I'm thinking about how if you put someone in the bog
Uh-huh.
and you knew about it, or
Right.
I'm also thinking about the ice mummies,
Right.
and then you went back 10 years later and the body had not deteriorated at all.
Oh my gosh.
You would have to think something
right.
magical is happening, right?
Exactly.
Because I'm sure you already know what
Uh-huh.
happens to dead bodies. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what time period you've lived in,
Yeah, for
you've
sure.
seen this. And so you'd have to think like, oh, this is something magical. So I
Mhm.
can kind of see why they would think it was godlike.
Yeah, for sure. Also in it, they found an edible waxy substance. It was made out of dairy or meat.
Ew.
How did they test it?
Yeah. Why do you know it's edible?
It's got
Who ate it? Whose job was it that day? What poor intern is like, dang it.
Yeah.
You're new here, kid. Eat
So
it.
they said a turf cutter found a 22-pound hunk of what they call bog butter in Ireland.
Gross.
Bog
Don't
butter.
call it bog butter. That's worse.
They said it was about 2,000 years old and it smelled pretty funky.
Oh, yeah.
They said that it would have been a fine spread in the 21st century toast.
No, it wouldn't. I bet it
Don't
wouldn't.
put that on your toast.
Don't eat it.
No.
That's so gross. Bog butter.
Bog butter. They said that it could have been for the gods, but they're just like, okay, well, maybe they're just like preserving it for later. So they're like, okay, it preserves bodies. It's like country ham. Bog butter.
No, it's not. Okay. I will not have you insult country ham that way. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they start to see it as like this is some sort of preservative.
Yeah. But also, unfortunately, like they said that in 1983, there was a body that was found and police thought, oh my gosh, it's the woman we've been looking for. It's this missing woman. And then they find out that it's like this thousands of year old body. And they're like, oh my gosh.
That's incredible that it's, I mean, obviously we're sitting here talking about how well preserved they are, but it's still amazing that like face to face with one.
Right.
And they're like, oh, this is someone who just went missing.
Right.
And then it turns out to be thousands of years old.
Yeah. But before they knew that, the house that the woman went missing from, like her house, was really close to this bog. And so they confronted the husband and they were like, we have this female's body. Did you do it? And he was like, sure did. I sure did kill her. So they got confession.
Oh,
And
I've
they were
heard
like,
this story.
This is not her. This is thousands years old.
Yeah. Which is the weirdest thing.
Why? Did you kill other people?
Right. Like, are you mentally ill?
Yeah. Yeah. What you doing with your life?
Yeah. You just want to go to prison? Do you want some street cred? Or were some shady police tactics used to get a confession from it?
Right.
Because why would you confess?
Yeah. Okay. So they said there's like tons of forensic data in the body's soft tissue. But like I said, it's not going to tell you who they are, but it is going to tell you somewhat of like their social status or like what was going on with them medically. It also, they can see what they ate in their final hours. Like that, it was
still in their
that
stomachs.
preserved. Yes. They ate porridge. They said that they ate some meat and some dairy, some buttermilk and cereal. Also buttermilk and
Gross.
cereal. Woof.
Yeah.
Someone had griddled toast flatbread with a small addition of mistletoe pollen. That's fancy.
That does sound fancy.
That's fancy.
Flatbread with mistletoe pollen.
Mistletoe pollen. I guess back then they didn't know that mistletoe was where birds just pooped on a branch and it
Or
grew
that was all part of the
seeds.
Delicacy.
Amazing.
I can hear a snooty waiter saying it right now.
Yeah.
With mistletoe pollen sprinkled upon the
Mistletoe.
flatbread.
So I have your flatbread toast with mistletoe pollen.
I wonder. So I guess what they're saying is they're not going to get any kind of ancestry familial DNA.
yeah.
Because wouldn't that be wild?
Oh,
like
run
your
it through
great,
DNA,
whatever.
yes.
And you could see
Oh my
clearly what they
gosh.
look like. That kind of makes me
Yes.
sad that nobody gets to, because
I
it would be kind of
know,
amazing.
yeah. Okay. I've got several people here that
Okay.
they found.
Okay.
I'm going to just read them to you. Listen.
The names are going to be fun. It's okay.
Gallagman.
Sure.
400, 200 BC. It was in Galway, Ireland in 1821. He was discovered lying on his left side, draped in a skin cape.
A skin cape.
Yeah. He was naked. But they don't know if he wore clothes and that was just kind of demolished by the acid,
Right.
or if he was purposefully naked. There was long wooden stakes anchoring him to the ground, and around his neck they had willow rods that they had used to they're guessing to strangle him.
Mm-hmm.
And they guessed his age to be 25.
Oh, wow.
So they're just like guessing at what happened to these people. So this person, they're like, okay, well, was this like a murder?
If he was strangled, it
Yeah.
seems like it would be a murder.
Yeah. Or
it could be a ritualistic.
Right. Yeah. Here's a meanie Braddon woman. Ireland again. Guys, come on.
Brad. Mm-hmm.
Come on. Ireland, teach us how to talk over here. AD 1500, 1600. Found in 1978. Style of a wooden cloak. A wooden cloak.
Interesting.
She had on, they said dated her back to the late 16th century. And it said it distinguished her from the more common Iron Age bog bodies. They think she was in her late 20s or 30s when she died. And she was possibly a murder victim or it was a suicide.
What interests me about that is the wood part, because I'm surprised that anything wooden lasted that long. So again, that's just what's
well, they
interesting
said even
in the
like
water.
vessels and like other things
yeah,
lasted in there. So I guess I don't know.
Just preserves everything perfectly. That's so crazy.
Yeah, except for bones. Old Krogan man, 350 to 175 BC, found in County Offaly, Ireland in 2003. They said that it fit the profile of an Iron Age bog body, but this one they think died a pretty bad death. This body had tons of cuts and stab wounds, and then they also dismembered the body.
Okay.
They think that it may have been like a sacrifice to the gods, or maybe it was a criminal being punished, or both. The torso, which was the only part they found of him. And also, I'm like, a torso told you how tall this man was? They said he was roughly 6'6".
I know when I worked at the Children's Hospital, one of the research studies I worked on was a growth study.
Oh.
And they know enough to know like typical relationships of like how long, like if your femur is this long versus this, and it kind of gives you an idea. So they probably have formulas that tell them if certain bones in their torso are these lengths, then their legs were probably, and it's still all a guess, but they can be pretty certain of how it would work out.
Okay. They also said that his fingernails were very manicured and he wore a leather armband and a bronze amulet. So they were like, okay, well, maybe this was
yeah.
But listen, they said that his nipples were cut off. Do you know why people's nipples were cut off, Megan?
I've heard this, but tell me.
So they said that sucking a king's nipples was a gesture of submission in ancient Ireland. So if someone wasn't submissive and they were a little rebellious, chop his nipples off.
I have heard this before.
Off with your nipples.
I can't think of from where, but
I'm going to start yelling that now.
Off with their nipples.
Off with the heads. Nope, it's nipples.
That sounds way worse to me.
Olive's like, don't take my nipples away.
Olive, nobody.
She's screwed. So Lindau man, 100 BC to AD 100. Found near Manchester, England in 1984. This one had a beard and a mustache, and they think he had mild arthritis, but he had really nice teeth and his hands looked great. Like his nails looked great. He really took care of himself. They said this one was struck on the head and had his throat cut. They said he was throttled with a rope.
So I wonder, this one and the one before that had his nipples cut off.
Yeah.
I think I've read something like if a king is dethroned or thrown out of power, that's what they do too, to be a further disempower them.
Oh.
But where both of them had mentioned their hands and their nails being in such good shape, it makes me think they probably didn't work. It implies to me that they're of a higher class. So I wonder if these are both men of power. Maybe. So then I wonder if being put in the bog is like an honor.
Yeah, but this one had like all sorts of wounds.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. So is it like they overthrew their king?
Bow to your queen.
Yeah. And then why would you put him in the bog?
Right.
Unless it's like particularly like because they're kings, it's more valuable.
What if they were like, you can't make it to the afterlife if your body's still preserved? Oh. But then the Egyptians didn't believe that. They were like, we're going to preserve your bodies and send you with all your things.
Well, maybe these two cultures didn't communicate at all. Someone should have told the Irish about what the Egyptians are talking about.
What are y'all doing with your words and your things? Okay. They also found some children. And unfortunately, this one was around 16 and in the Netherlands. where she was found, and she was found in 1897, but they believe she died in like 100 BC. She was stabbed, and they think that maybe like that one girl found in the icy mountains, she was used as a sacrifice.
Okay.
Poor baby.
But again, maybe it was an honor to her. Maybe she thought, maybe this was something that she wanted to do.
Yeah.
It's so hard to see other cultures through like our lens, because I can't imagine.
Yeah. There are plenty others that they found in the bogs. This one in Germany, his decapitated head was found, and it was wrapped in deerskin cape.
Can you imagine just finding a perfectly preserved head?
Right. In a deerskin cape.
Oh, I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it.
It said his hair was reddened by the chemicals in the peat. And it said that he had his hair tied in like this super like elaborate knot. Like it even preserved his hairstyle.
That is so crazy. So that makes me wonder the whole thing where it turns their hair red. If you've happened upon a body that you know a person that died, years and years before, and now their hair is turned red. I wonder if that had anything to do with why red hair became like demonized later. Because we do have souls, okay?
Yes, guys, they're not all evil.
Not take any abusive redhead talk. Not on my watch.
Not on my watch. There's another one, the Elling woman, found in 1938. She was about 25, found in Denmark. They think that she was hung. A rope made of skin was found with her body, and they said that there was like ligature marks around her neck. So they think that that was the rope they used to hang her.
Every time you say something made of skin, I keep thinking human skin, but it probably means animal skin.
I mean, this may not be the cannibal episode I did, but maybe this is where it starts. So here's the oldest of the bog bodies. A skull and several bones were found, but no signs of violence were present. He was thought to be a woman until 2016 when DNA analysis proved otherwise.
Oh. Well, he couldn't have been that well preserved.
I know.
Right? Like, you think there'd be some obvious signs. Yeah. But then that makes me wonder, too, about, was something done to him to make him look like he couldn't be a man? Or was he born a certain way, and that's why? Oh.
Okay, then there's the Klon Cave man. He was around early 20s, back to 392 to 201 BC. Triple killed as a sacrifice to a goddess is their guess. They said that he was strangled, stabbed, struck on the head 3 times, and on the chest once with an axe, and then disemboweled.
Oh, good Lord.
Yep. And they said that they never found the legs or the arms. And so they were just like, well, we think that this was the killing of a sacrifice to the goddess in her 3 forms: fertility, sovereignty, and war and death. Okay, so there's a lot more that are in these stories, so you all can go find them on the links. You can also find pictures of the bodies in the links, so that doesn't weird you out.
To look at.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's not super gruesome. It's just like a mummy.
It's morbid. Yeah, it's morbidly fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the part that's so cool, is it gives you a glimpse at such old cultures.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We will be back Friday with another episode.
We love you so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. She said goodbye.